Hi, my name is Aleah Vassell, and I am a recent graduate from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. I just graduated this past May with my Master's of Fine Arts in Acting, and in 2019, when I was a graduate student, I was privileged to play the role of Bunny in the Clarence Brown Theater's production of Detroit 67. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge that I'm speaking to you from Knoxville, Tennessee, which is the land of the Uchee and Muskogee Creek people, as well as the Cherokee Nations. I would like to acknowledge the Indigenous stewards, both in the past and the present. Detroit 67 is a play written by Dominique Morisseau, and it first premiered at the Public Theater, New York in March of 2013. This play tells the story of two siblings, Shell and Lank, their friends, Sly and Bunny, and their business, all at a time of protests in the summer of 1967, located in Detroit, Michigan. Shell and Lank recently inherited their childhood home due to their father's passing. They have a small business, a private business, where they throw parties in their basement, and that also gives them some extra income. Shell has a son in college that she is financially supporting, and Lank is a dreamer. Because Lank is a dreamer, he wants something more than they already have. He wants a bar on the street to where it could be a public nightclub, and Shell is just trying to keep what she already has stable. She's more conventional. My character, Bunny, is a supporting character. She is Shell's best friend. Bunny is stylish and sensual and erotic and is always looking her best and stands in her power and takes up space. And most importantly, she's proud of all of the things that make her her. She never backs down and she never tries to hide who she truly is. Bunny and I have some similarities, as I find that I have those characteristics of Bunny around my friends, around people that I trust. But when it comes to being on stage, I have never allowed myself to be that big. Even when I've had lead roles, it was different than Bunny's character for me. My struggle with finding this character was never playing someone as big and authentic and someone that took up space as much as Bunny before. So I had to break down a lot of social constructs within myself to allow myself to authentically play this character. So my challenges were to allow myself to take up space, allow myself to be openly sexual and sensual and erotic and tell myself it's okay. Also allowing myself to be loud and proud, whether it's using my voice, whether it's using my body, whether it's just talking about something that I did that I was happy about. And at the end of the day, wrapping all of that in one and being unapologetic about it. Some actor tools and other things I used to overcome these challenges. Firstly, I made up a backstory for her. What happened in her life that caused her to become the way that she was? Where did she go to school? What was it like in her first relationship? I wanted to understand her instead of judge. And by creating this backstory, it allowed me to more authentically be her. Another actor tool I used was movement-based. I walked around in space like her. I tried to figure out what it was like to be in her body, what it was like to openly take up space and openly be sexual and it not be a bad thing that you were shamed for all your life. How she moved in the room, how she used her hips, how she used her chest, how everything was a tool to show who she truly was. When I was finished with that movement work, I went to voice work and I also put in a different aspect of movement. So if I had the word smooth, I would play with that word. How Aleah would say the word smooth is, oh, that was smooth. Since Bunny takes up so much space, since Bunny is loud and melodic in everything that she does, I had to play with that. The way that Aleah says it was not the way that Bunny would say it. So I would practice every way I could to say words. So maybe I would be like, that's smooth, or that's smooth, or that's smooth. I would do a lot of stuff that Aleah regularly wouldn't do, but that I think Bunny would. So I used my voice in that way. And once I figured out some ways that Bunny would say these words, I would then add movement once I figured out how to be in Bunny's body. So say I did, that's smooth. I would add my body into the voice work that I just found. And I would do that for every scene, every monologue, every conversation. I just needed to get it in my body. I just needed practice of taking up this space in this way. Some things I did for myself to break down social constructs was some inner work. I had to look at things that I'd learned and be like, why do I not think that's okay? Who told me that wasn't okay? Where did I learn to stay quiet and not take up space? I had to tell myself that it's okay to be sexual and sensual and erotic, because as a woman, that's something that you're not taught. And I'm not just talking about intimacy, I'm talking about power. To be erotic does not mean to be inherently sexual, but like that gut feeling that you feel when something's good, whether you got an A on your test or whether you're singing at karaoke, like that in itself is also erotic. To be erotic is to have this power inside of you and to not shy away from it. Being an actor in the show was so wonderful and so important and such a new experience for me. Growing up in white spaces and being taught by all white teachers my entire life, going into Detroit 67 was a breath of fresh air. This is a Black story by a Black female playwright. It was directed by a Black woman with an almost all Black cast. For once, I just felt like I could be myself. I didn't have to worry about my words. I didn't feel like anyone was judging my Blackness or my culture. And I also got to share that on stage. Detroit 67 was the first time I've worn my natural hair on stage. I had a big afro. I didn't have to put it back like this in braids. I didn't have to make it look good or look a certain way. I could just go out there with the hair I was born with on my head. These spaces are very important to people of color, especially in the theater. There is the We See You white American theater letter out there that talks about all of these people of color and what we have to do when we go into these theater spaces, because most of them are white. These BIPOC stories in general are just very important. And the problem is they are not seen as the norm. They are seen as the one slot in our season and that's enough. And it's not. So I hope that America continues to wake up to this. I hope that Knoxville continues to wake up to this, because Knoxville is not all white and there needs to be more stories shared because of that. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen in and learn a little bit more about Detroit 67 by Dominique Morisseau and my character Bunny. My name is Aleah Vassell and I hope you have a great day.